Hey everyone, I thought I'd jump on today. I created a spread for the Sirius Gateway, which is happening, well, we're already in the middle of it. It started on the 3rd and it will go till around about the 7th. So I created a spread just to check in with the energy and the activations, and I was going to sit down and just do it for myself. As I do normally, but I thought I would video it instead. So this is how I would normally read for myself. I am going to use a whole lot of oracles as well that are a bit new to me. Some of these oracles are new to me. I got a few new ones for my birthday this year, so I'm not terribly familiar with those. But then I do have all my tarot here as well. Tarot's where I'm the most comfortable. So I may be reading from the books for the oracles just because I'm not familiar with these decks. These are tree energies. So I'm really just learning how to tune into those energies. But also I put this spread, I created this spread and I put this spread on my Facebook page and my Instagram page. So I will leave links for those in the description so that if you want to go and download this spread, you can. Okay, so we have 5 questions in this spread. The first is the energy of this gateway. I always like to check in with what the energy is. Particularly how it's expressing. The second is what this energy is activating for me. So you're going to get to see my process. You're going to get to see my cards for this and how I go about doing this. I don't always only use tarot or oracle. Sometimes, as you know, I will pull my words in. Every now and then I'll grab a rune. I don't know if I'll work with runes today, but generally speaking, I would usually pull my runes. Yeah, so, but you guys will get to see how I do this and what answers come out for these questions for me. So the third one is how this activation will express. Okay, so activations happen and certain things in our external world will reflect those things back to us, or maybe there's something we're learning and so the external world will reflect what is happening. One thing I will say is that usually by the time I've done a reading, the reading is usually the final, I don't want to say it's the final step, it's not really the final step because there's integration, there's all of that, but it's usually the final thing that I do in terms of I receive a lot of information from meditation, from astral, dream work, symbology, the external reflecting itself to me. I'm picking up a lot of stuff already. So by the time I come to a tarot reading, I'm really getting confirmation, I guess you could say. Generally speaking, the reading will tell me things I've kind of already picked up on. But it just shines the spotlight on that and just confirms that for me. So that doesn't mean I don't learn new things in tarot. And you may see me scratching my head going, I don't get it. Sometimes that happens too. Because as things unfold, we receive more of the puzzle pieces. And we've got the integration process to happen as well. So the integration process is where things really start to make sense. They're not just theoretical knowledge. We feel them, we're experiencing them. So they become less knowledge and more wisdom, I guess you could say. So the fourth question, that leads me to the fourth question, which is how to integrate this activation, because that's really important that you know how to integrate what you're receiving. And the fifth question is where this activation is leading me, because, an activation may happen. We may not necessarily be able to see a big picture of what this activation is about, But generally, if we can see the next step in front of us, or we can see sort of like a broader perspective of where this is taking us, it helps to, I guess, ease some of the anxiety we might have around where these activations are taking us, especially if they challenge our external world, you know, our security, our comfort, all of that kind of stuff. If they challenge us to really step out of our comfort zone, then it kind of is nice to have a little bit of an idea of where it's really going, even if it's not a concrete one, because I don't really think anything is concrete, but just to have an understanding, I think, is really important. So I'm being brave again, and I'm going to do the spread for myself. I will start with tarot. I'll pull all 5 cards with the tarot. I do read the bottom of the deck. The bottom of the deck for me is a really important part of the message. That doesn't mean I remember all the time to read the bottom of the deck. You might see that. And if I don't, I really don't sweat it. I guess I wasn't meant to see the bottom of the deck, you know. So I will start with tarot, and then I'll probably elaborate on those things as I go through the reading. So I will pull the cards first. It may take me a while because I do use jumpers, and I'm just trying to decide what deck I'll use today. I've been really enjoying the Lightseers Tarot at the moment. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I'm posting one of those usually daily. Simply for the mantra. The mantra inside the message in the guidebook is really amazing. If you can use that daily mantra to, I guess, reprogram some of the belief systems that you have. So I've really been enjoying this deck, but I do also use it just as a tarot deck, not necessarily for mantra. Okay. So when I'm shuffling, as I'm sure a lot of you do, I'm calling in, you know, divine source, essentially the source of all. I call in my higher self. I call in also my embodied essence, because I'm the one down here doing this work and having the experience. So I want to make sure I'm present. I'm also calling in my guides. So I have a few specific guides that I work with. Sometimes I have guides popping in, they'll just show up. So recently, and I don't know whether it's connected to Cancer season or if it's connected to Neptune retrograde, which we've just had, but I've had Neptune showing up for me in a big way. So, you know, a lot of his symbology, a lot of stuff showing up in my news feed unexpectedly, and games that I play. Symbology will show up wherever, whenever. So I'm always paying attention to when I'm seeing something, you know, multiple times. So I've had Neptune showing up, which is interesting. I've never worked with Neptune, and I've realized that he is not the same as Poseidon. Who knew? So I usually work with the Greek pantheon, and I just thought that Neptune and Poseidon were just, you know, a different name for the same deity, and that turns out that's not true. There are some actually big differences, so I'm learning all about that. So we've got the first one, which is the energy of this gateway. Okay, so we have the Page of Swords reversed for that. Interesting. The mind boggles. Okay, and the second one, what this energy is activating for me specifically. I do read reversals. I don't know about you, but I find during the Mercury retrograde, I think this is what really got my attention for astrology, was that during Mercury retrogrades, I would forever get the Swords cards, but in reverse, and like my readings would be dominated by Swords cards in reverse. Yeah, so that's interesting. But I do tend to get a lot of reverse cards just for myself in general. Okay, so what this energy is activating for me. Ooh, nice. 3 of Wands. Cool. Okay, how this activation will express. Let's see, how will this activation express? I do love shuffling cards. I find it very mindful and very meditative. I'm not usually talking to someone while I'm reading for myself. Oh, look at this, how this activation will express, and I already know where this is going. There we go, 2 of Swords. Yep. I'll go into that a little bit more as we go through the cards, and I'll pull clarifiers on them too. Okay, how to integrate this activation. Love this. The world. Yeah. The world speaks to me of wholeness and just full self-acceptance. Just really coming to a space of peace with who you are and your process and everything, your shadows, the lot. So I really like the world. The world really is, the integration starts, I believe, well, not starts, but kind of is cementing by the time we get to Judgment. And the world is where we make the very final call, you know. So the 5th question is where this activation is leading me. Let's see. Where is this activation leading me? It's going to take its time. That's the problem with waiting for jumpers. But we'll see. My cat's at the door. She's been under the deck and her head is covered in leaves and cobwebs. If I let her in, she'll jump all over the laptop, so I can't do that. I'm not going to be her favourite person. Okay, look, here we go. Where this activation is leading me. Ooh, what a sticky card to get for that. What a sticky card. We'll look into that further. So that's the Magician reversed. Okay, so what I'm going to do for the very first card, which is this Page of Swords reversed. So the question is, what is the energy of this gateway? And here we see this page, and pages represent an immature sort of energy, and immature isn't a bad thing. It's not a judgment. Immature is it's a less restrictive energy. It's an energy that is still learning and experiencing, as opposed to being, to me, this is beginner's mind in that direction. That's beginner's mind. Okay. So beginner's mind is when you forget everything you know, or you think you know, and you allow yourself to be teachable. Okay, so in reverse, I see here resistance. Okay, so resistance to beginner's mind, maybe even thinking, even though, you know, teenagers, right? You've been a teenager, I've been a teenager. We think we know, we think we know. And then as we go through life, we realize, yeah, I didn't really know. And I was watching something, I think it was this morning, and I can't remember who was speaking of it, but it was, they were speaking on knowing what you don't know versus not knowing what you don't know. And that can be, sometimes we're not aware of what we don't know because we don't know it. There can be a whole wealth of things out there that other people know, other people have experienced, other people are privy to, but we've had no contact with it. So we have no clue. that either that exists or of their perspective on something. We just have never had the contact or the experience. So sometimes we may feel like we know what we know, but it's what we don't know that's key. And see what I mean? Like, I just heard this morning. Things are always coming through, and tarot will hone in on them, and it will put a spotlight on those things. That's what I really love and appreciate about the tarot, is that it is a structure. To me, tarot has a very masculine, I guess, role, in that, you know, especially when it comes to interpreting our subconscious, the subconscious is the feminine, right? And it is just so vast and wide, and you could get lost in there forever exploring that. There's no real structure in that. And the tarot provides a structure for us, you know, a framework for us to really explore those things through archetypes, through experiences, through situations. You know, life will give us the perfect classroom for that. And the tarot helps us navigate the study of it, I guess. And that's what I really appreciate about the tarot. Information is always coming in from the external. Then, of course, there's information that's coming in from within. And being able to realize that you don't know everything about everything, and to stay open to new point of views, to stay open to the fact that just because you don't think something is possible doesn't mean it isn't. It just means you cannot see the pathway. But perhaps there's someone else who can and knows exactly how to connect those pieces. So yeah, this here, the energy of this gateway is, you know, looking at where we think we know what we know and elaborating on that. And one thing that is definitely activating for me with this Sirius Gateway is in the realm of tarot. You know, I began working with the Witch's Tarot deck that was by Alan Dugan. That was my first ever, I've got the box here. That was my first ever deck. It is a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, but it still has its own take on everything, and some of the card names are changed. Some of the imagery does detract, though it may be similar, it does detract from the original Rider-Waite-Smith. And I've come to the realization lately that I really need to actually sit with the Rider-Waite-Smith. As much as I love all these other clones, and everyone's got this unique perspective, you know, each deck puts a different take, even though it is a clone, and we can get multiple different point of views from the same card depicted differently. But I am realizing that I really do want to look into the Rider-Waite a little bit more than I have, and really study that. So I read a lot of the time intuitively as well. I have, you know, obviously I've been reading for like 6 years. I know all the tarot basics. I've put my own spin on how I read as well, but most of it is coming through intuitive, coming through the visual imagery, sometimes the colors, sometimes the numerology. I'm pulling in information from a lot of different things, not necessarily just the traditional messaging. But having said that, I do really want to dive in, because I don't feel like I should only have this, I guess you could say. I feel like there are perspectives out there that hold a wealth of information, that is available for me. So to put up that resistance or a block, it'll say, well, no, I've been learning for 6 years. You know, I know what I know. Maybe there's more to know. Maybe there's just more to know and more to learn. And another wonderful thing about tarot is, you know, you can read with the same deck. You can read with the same deck for 20 years or more and still be picking up new things. So I just like to take the easy way. I'm impatient. I want to see everybody else's point of views as well. I want to capitalize on the amazing decks that are out there and the amazing interpretations that are out there. I like to change it up. I like variety. I like that brings something into my world that wasn't there before and helps to open me up. But there's benefit in going right back to the basics, right? You know, maybe there's something else to find there. So the energy of this gateway is realizing that you don't know what you don't know, and committing to being a beginner. And one thing with reversals is that the antidote to a reversal is always this. It's always just turning it around. So whenever there is resistance to something, we switch it up and we focus on this. This is the energy we anchor into, which is beginner's mind. Permission to be a beginner and to learn and to keep learning, and to never feel like, oh, well, my learning is done. I'm an avid learner, by the way. I love to learn. It's always been part of who I am. I was the kid that would, I don't know if I should tell the story. I was the kid that would always sit in my room and read the encyclopedia and the dictionary and like highlight it, much to my mother's horror. But I've always been an avid learner. But that doesn't mean that I'm not stubborn. I am stubborn. So the energy of this gateway is opening up to learning what you don't know. Being open to the fact that you don't know. So what do I have on the bottom of this deck? I just want to... Yeah, okay, cool. That speaks volumes already. If you don't know what you don't know and you refuse to learn what you don't know because you don't think you have anything else to learn, how can you move away from the things that do not serve you? Okay? Staying stuck in certain situations because you think you know. You think they're all there is to know, all the possibilities. You think you know the outcomes. You think you know all of that. So yeah, this is a good lesson for me, right? I don't know what I don't know. Open up to beginner's mind. So I'm going to pull from this deck here. This is the Work Your Light Oracle. It's by Rebecca Campbell. And it is illustrated by Danielle Noel. It is the only deck I have from these creators. I do love Danielle Noel's work, and I am hoping in the future to get my hands on her Ocean Dreams Oracle. It looks really beautiful. But this deck is very star-seedy, and that's why I'm using it today for the Sirius Gateway. See, what is the energy of this gateway? This deck does tend to give me the same very few cards. I'd love to get a new one. We'll see. And I guess it, maybe that speaks volumes too, because I think I know what I know. Maybe I stay stuck in the same patterns and the same energies, doing things the same way. Maybe that's why I get the same cards, right? Maybe. We'll see. This one has a matte finish, and I find that it either, the jumpers come out in twos, or it just takes a really long time. So I try to shuffle it in different ways just to speed that, because I'm impatient. To speed that along. I don't know how many times I can say that. But I will be patient. You know, does this deck even want to speak to me right now? The energy of this gateway. Is there a card or a message from this deck that speaks to the Page of Swords in reverse? Looks like there is. Oh, look, it's come out in twos. And I'll take both. I don't generally take both, but this one just cracks me up. Have a look. Starseed. Of course, it's the Sirius Gateway, right? What lights you up? What indeed? You know what lights me up? Tarot. I love tarot. I do not have anyone really in my physical realm that enjoys tarot or even understands tarot. And yet I love to do it, and there's just no one to do that with. So the online space is amazing because we can connect with so many other people who love what we love, right? We can connect, we can have fun with it. There's always challenges going on in the community. I love watching TarotTube and all the videos. I do. I really love it. I love the people in the community, how willingly transparent they can be. I really enjoy that. But I do struggle to find that in my physical world. Okay. I'm from New Zealand, and even our online communities are very small. Okay, so what we have here is leap. Yeah. So I made a quantum leap spread maybe 3 weeks ago, around about that. That is also on my Instagram at the moment and Facebook, about making the quantum leap. It says, you go first, the universe will catch you. Okay. Yeah. So if I think I know all I need to know about what it means to be a starseed, if I think I know all I need to know about my role here as a starseed, yeah, guess I don't. Maybe there's more to learn, and there is a leap there to take. And if you look at this card here, you'll notice she's actually walking on a tightrope. You know, it's like, or it's quite a precarious situation going on there. Yeah. You know, learning something new is precarious, right? Challenges us. So I really love this. I think this is a great activation for the Sirius Gateway. I think that's fantastic. For me, I tend to find the Lion's Gate quite illuminating. So I have made a spread for the Lion's Gate, and I'll post that up closer to the time. But a lot of information comes through to me during the Lion's Gate, which is happening later at the end of this month towards the 12th. It finishes around the 12th of August, but peaks around the 8th of the 8th. Which is what they typically call the Lion's Gate. So we've actually got quite a bit of activations going on at the moment, and you may notice that a lot of awakenings happen around this time. Okay, people start coming online, as it were, around this time. My major awakening began, it really started to begin around this time, and then started to peak, and then really came to a head by November. Okay, so some of these things unfold and unravel, but the activation begins earlier, and that process just takes place, right? Okay, so what this energy is activating for me, and I actually really love this, the Three of Wands. So the Three of Wands, for me, and a lot of people, the Wands energy, this fire energy, is spiritual energy. It is will. It is manifestation. It is our ability to influence the quantum field. I guess it's a little bit like how a coal fire would fuel a steam train engine, right? It would just, the fire gets the momentum going. And so Wands energy for me can be very much about momentum and how we're using our personal or spiritual energy. The Three of Wands is the point past the planning. It is the point of expectation. Okay, so the Two of Wands is where we sit and we think and we plan what we're going to do. It's almost like it's very inactive, but the desire is what is creating the momentum. The Three of Wands is the desire that is generated through the expectation of something coming as a result of that momentum, okay? So for me, this is very much about opening up our willingness to expect bigger, better things than perhaps what we have expected in the past. It is a faith-based expectation. It is also an expectation based on knowing one's worth, that you deserve good things. I generally don't enjoy the word deserve. I feel like it means you have to earn something. I prefer the word require. I think that if you desire something, then you require it. That to me becomes a need. Even if it does feel like a luxury, if your soul is asking for it, it is a soul need. So the Three of Wands is a really active, it's an active energy, whereas the Two of Wands was a little bit more passive. This is where the momentum builds, okay? And the manifestation process, I guess. That doesn't necessarily mean we do nothing but expect, okay? It means it's that dance of the feminine and the masculine, okay, where the feminine receives the inspiration and then the masculine decides what I will do with it, and how I will go about doing that. But what keeps the torches alight for me is integrity. It is staying true to who you are. It is staying true to the truth of yourself. It's passion, right? It is finding what lights you up, and coming back into this, what does light you up, and partaking in that, actively partaking in that, knowing that frequency helps bring things to you a lot faster. It builds the momentum, okay? Because it's hard to be miserable when we're inspired and hopeful for good things, right? When we're having, when we're feeding our passions, you know, I'm not saying it's impossible to be cynical. I'm human, so there are times where I'm still very cynical. But it is really anchoring into this energy of expecting good things, of being open to receiving those good things, but also open to creating the energy that brings those things to you. Okay. So this energy is activating for me. I'm going to pull one of my cards. I actually really enjoy these cards. This is one of my oracle cards that I got for my birthday. So this here is the Celtic Tree Oracle. Okay. By Sherilyn Hidalgo, I think they've said that right. I do want to pull one for that. So the energy is activating that for me. You don't know what you don't know, but you can set the intention to know it, to learn it, to draw that in, right? And you can set the will and the intention to draw in the teachers, to draw in the experiences, to draw in the people, even if it's just posts or information through your newsfeed that can connect you with, as long as you're open to receiving information that you don't know. And that may even contradict what you think you know. Staying open to it, drawing in what you need, what you desire, drawing it in. Because your actions can only go so far. We're not here to just do everything to make things happen and to force and to control. There's an element of aligning with it that we have to do. And a lot of us for a really long time have really, I guess, been hammered with this idea that if you want things to happen, you have to make them happen physically. You know, you have to struggle, you have to suffer, you have to sacrifice, you have to, you know, have Tony Robbins kind of discipline. Whereas there is another kind of discipline, sorry if I can say the word right, there is another type of discipline, and it is the discipline of will, it is the discipline of desire, and it is the discipline of our emotions. Discipline does not mean punishment, and I think we really got caught up in that, right? That to be disciplined, we have to punish ourselves in some way. Or if we don't achieve what we want, then we should be disciplined, we should be punished. Discipline is not that, okay? Punity and discipline are not the same thing. And those messages have kind of got a bit crossed over. Discipline is where we make agreements with ourselves, you know, and we agree to those agreements and we honor those agreements. We don't shame ourselves for not meeting those agreements, because that just makes things worse and it makes the journey harder. We just honor our humanity and we tell ourselves, you know, I deserve a different experience, and that is why I'm putting the discipline in. I'm doing it as a form of love for myself. I believe that I am worthy of those things, of good things. I don't think this deck wants to talk to me. But yeah, I believe I'm worthy of good things, and therefore this is why I make this agreement to myself, and it has nothing to do with shame. Nothing at all to do with shame. It's not, I need to do this so that these people respect me. I need to do this because, you know, my partner won't love me if I don't. None of that. You know, or society expects me to be this certain way, so that's why I have to. You'll never get anywhere if those are the underlying fuel. We only get so far. We have to genuinely want something. We have to genuinely desire something for us to be able to do it, to put that effort in. Because if it's, you know, our soul likes to stand up for us. On the inside, at least, it's always standing up. It's always saying, you know, just because somebody wants you to be this way doesn't mean that's the truth of your soul. Yeah, that was a big rant anyway. Let's see what this card is. Okay, so we have the Sail Willow. It did come out in reverse, so let's check on that. Which is the deck. It is number 4. The willow tree is special to me. It's special to me for a few reasons. The first is that it was my mother's favourite tree. My mother has passed. So when I do see willow trees, they carry that feel of my mother, I guess, with them. But also, I'm going to turn it up that way, even though it came out in reverse, but also I have a niece named Willow. I have a beautiful niece named Willow, so it is a special tree for me, just for that alone. So, okay, so this is for what this energy is activating for me. It was in reversed. So, yeah, here we go. I am a tree that supports you in honouring your feelings. When you are having an emotional moment, be kind to yourself. There it is. Treat all of your emotions with kindness. Once they have your attention, they will diminish. That is all they want. Your unconditional love and attention is everything. In this way, you are acting like the perfect mother to yourself. Do you see how that happened there? Yeah, it's my mum. Yeah. Awesome. The feminine principle is about love, kindness, care, appreciation, and calming attention. I represent the great mother of all, and I send my healing love. See, mother? I am here to hug and hold you. You can seek comfort in my great arms. I am an umbrella of love and protection. You are a child of the vast universe, and you are precious. I am here to reassure you that all is well and that all is returning to balance. Forgive yourself and allow healing to take place. In time, you can lay down your grievances and forgive others. All acts of forgiveness are really for your own healing. Wow. Yeah. There we go. I love these moments. That's very special. Okay, so how this activation will express, and here I have the 12 wands, and I'm just going to hold this up because this, Two of Swords, because this is also a Swords card here. And again, we have her in reverse. So this is confusion. This is a battle between two conflicting thoughts. On one hand, the thought is, this is my 3D reality. This is my situation. I can't see how things can get better from here, or I can't see the way out. I don't know the next best step. I don't know what I don't know. I can't see it. And the other thought is the one that is battling it, is the one that is challenging it, is the one that says, you have all this information within, right? We hear that all the time. You have all this information within. We're like, yeah, but where is it? I can't see it. I can't see it. You know, it could be the conflicting belief of you are loved. You are a loved child of this universe, and we will not leave you destitute, right? And you can know those things, but not know those things in your physiology. So your physiology can go into fight or flight. Even though you have this idea, it feels a bit fluffy, but you've also got this really long-term ingrained conditioning of if you want something, you have to work hard and sacrifice and suffer for it. Otherwise, it's not going to work out. Whereas you've got the universe here saying that's not necessarily the truth, actually. Whichever one you believe is what will be true for you. Okay. So our beliefs, our thoughts, our feelings, all of these things have an immense ability to influence the quantum field. Okay, and we can influence them in this way, or we can influence them in a way where everything is doom and gloom. I'm not immune to that. Okay, I'm definitely not immune to that. I think most of us who have come or have been awakened or been through an awakening process, I'm talking dark night of the soul, we know how hard it gets, right? We know how challenging it gets in our 3D world. While we are getting to a space where we are learning to discipline our, our will, our feelings, our beliefs, all of that stuff. We are rewriting code, so that's not easy because that code has been operating a really long time. So this Two of Swords here is the confusion. It is the battle. It is the battle between these two things. Okay. Awesome. So that's definitely how that's going to express it. That is definitely how that's expressing for me at the moment. I've got my real world voice happening, and I've got my quantum voice, my soul voice saying, hang on a minute. Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that? And me here down in this earth saying, I need some evidence. I need to see the evidence. Okay? So that battle is a real battle. Call on your guides. Call on them. One of the things I do regularly is I say, okay, that's cool. I need to see the evidence that your support is there. I need you to show me. I need to see the numbers. I need to see this when I am having a physiological reaction in terms of worry or anxiety about something. Put that in front of my face. Bring me back. Bring me back. Wake me up. Bring me back. And my guides do that. They do that amazingly. I was on the phone with my brother yesterday and we were chatting about my website, and instantly there was a rainbow right in front of the window where I'm sitting right now, just right in front of me, not to the side, not faint, not off in the distance, immediately in front of me. And I've been working with Archangel Raziel for the last month, and the rainbow is highly connected to Raziel and also Iris. I really have felt the energy of Iris with me, that feminine quality with me. So yeah, show me. If you ask to be shown, if you ask for the reassurance, say, I need to keep seeing this. I need to keep seeing this to bring me back. Know what you need and ask for it. And again, that can make you feel a little bit like, is that really real? They'll prove to you it's real. Whether it is an actual guide you feel you're connecting with, or whether it is your own consciousness reflecting itself back to you, you will see the evidence of it. So number 4, how to integrate this activation is really this, right? Is really this. It's the kindness. It's the accepting that you're going to wobble. You've got your training wheels on. You're going to wobble. You can't do it perfectly, and that's okay. And the self-acceptance of your process is how you integrate this activation. Okay. It's to allow yourself to be as you are while you're going through the process. Honor it. Enough with the shame and enough with the judgment. Honor it. Celebrate it even. Have fun. Celebrate it. Like, I am learning a lot. I am going through a lot right now. And, this is the time in my life I'm going to look back on. And I'm going to be proud of me that I made the choice that I did, that I'm sticking to this, that I'm challenging it. I'm challenging these thoughts that I have that are coming in. I'm willing to see something else. I'm willing to see it. you know, help me take the blindfold off. But also, I love me even with this blindfold on. I've got no judgment on this blindfold and me wearing it. Okay? Because I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. So this here is how we integrate the activation. There's a whole lot of allowance and acceptance, a whole lot of self-honoring, a whole lot of being, that I'm allowed to be where I am. Okay, and where this activation is leading me, and this is interesting, right? Because this here, this is the magician. This magician here is not effective. This magician here doesn't think he's magical. He does not think he is magical. He does not think he has the power. So, because he doesn't realize he has more power than he really does, he reverts back to the tried and true and not so nice, I guess you could say, of trying to coerce, trying to manipulate, trying to force things to happen. Okay? And maybe this is an experience we need to have. Maybe it is. Maybe this is what needs to be accepted. Okay? It is about also acknowledging all the places where we revert back to that, where we think this is hopeless, this is useless, I'm not going to be able to do this the way I want to do it. I don't feel powerful. Noticing those feelings, noticing the will, I don't know if I want to say that, noticing the thought that how else can I do this? You know, in ways that are less than honorable. And pull yourself up on that in a really loving way, in a really loving, gentle way. Like you have more power than this. Yeah. I know that this is something I'm doing a lot of meditating around, because like I said, I have a physiological reaction. You go into flight or fight with certain things, and your body, it's almost like it senses urgency, or it tells you something is extremely urgent and you have to do this now. You have to take an action right now. You know, and it has to be this, and it's usually not a very good one. It's usually not a very good thought out one. It's a survival mode tactic. Generally an underhanded way to get a need met, but not the best way. So, you know, my process is learning how to interrupt that, really interrupt that. Number one, notice the physiology, being in my body, realizing, okay, I'm having a physiological reaction. It's triggering a lot of things that I need to work on. But before I can do that, before I can make any choices or decisions, I need to get myself centered. I need to get myself grounded. I need to come back to the truth of who I am, the peace within me, to be able to know what that next step is. And I tell you what, it is having this experience here of feeling powerless, of feeling like I can't do this, I don't have what I need, is and of itself an illusion. You do have what you need, you just don't necessarily know it in the moment because of the brain fog, because of the physiological reaction, the emotions, all of that other stuff that's coming out first. But you do know it. You do know it, and you will find it in the calm, in the peace. You do have everything you need, because all you need to begin with is the will, is the intention, is the knowledge of how you can focus and direct that will. Okay. You know, for me, I use the elements, which is traditionally what the magician does use. I use a lot of water therapy. You know, I use fire to burn and release things. You know, I use earth to ground myself. I use air, you know, my thoughts. I reprogram them. So I have everything I need to do it. It's just the patience, which I struggle with. It's the patience and the application. It's all in the patience and the application. None of these things are laborious. They are sometimes tedious, or maybe they seem minuscule and like they can't possibly work, because we've been conditioned to believe that anything that's going to work and do great has to be big and showy, right? And that subtle, small things are ineffective. And the truth is that subtle, small things done repeatedly are incredibly effective. Whether they are writing affirmations, whether they are meditating in 5 to 10 minute blocks a few times a day. You know, they don't have to be big and they don't have to be showy, but this feeling of powerlessness really will creep in when we are learning this lesson. And this is where this activation is leading me. It is this battle, right? It is this battle, but it is the battle between the subconscious and the truth of my soul. Okay, that's what that is. And I've really enjoyed doing this. And like I said, it really has confirmed a lot going on for me at the moment. Yeah, like if this is where I am now, you know, I'm right at the battle. I'm on ground zero in the middle of the battle. Imagine where I'll be in a year's time. Imagine where I'll be. You know, I look back now, it's been 6 years in since my awakening. I look back even 2 years ago and I have changed so vastly. So, you know, I look back 6 years ago and I don't actually recognize a lot of who I was in me now. Those things have subsided or been through a spiritual death and rebirth process. So, you know, this is just the beginning, and because I know I've already had that beginning, I've already been through that massive moment of just not knowing I could do anything, or that I was really, I don't want to say worth anything, but, you know, feeling like I deserved mediocrity. And that's all that there could possibly be for me, right? And coming away from that. So, yeah, because I know it was possible then, and I know how far I've come now, I know it's entirely possible now. And I love that tarot can remind me and reflect back to me that, you know, maybe my journey over the next year or two will help me to be able to sit with people who are here at the beginning again, because I'll remember what it was like to be there, and how hard that was, how challenging it can be, and I'll have an understanding of what they're going through. So, you know, that'll be easier for me to connect to them with, to show them, hey, you know, this powerlessness, this feeling of powerlessness, it will subside. It's going to subside. You have the power, you know, and you have the strength of the battle. So I really like that. that's quite cool. That's special to me. Because I kind of have a view of things in terms of, you know, if I look back through all the things, through all of my experiences, through my journey, what is, you know, it's great. I've learned a lot from it for myself, but what is it if kept to myself? You know, why keep all of that to myself? When it is a treasure. It is a treasure that you can share with others and connect with others with. And it can serve more than just me, right? It can serve more than just me and be a lot more meaningful than just I went through a dark night of the soul. You know, the dark night of the soul happened to me. It can be a lot more meaningful than that. You know, I experienced the dark night of the soul and now I can help others. You know, my fellow starseeds. You know, I think that's really amazing. But first I have to admit that I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. And the things I do know, I need to move away from the things that I think I know and closer towards the new things that I'm learning. Because neuroscience shows that the more connections you make with a thought or a belief, the stronger it is, but that our neurons are pliable, they're elastic. As much as we can strengthen them like normal muscles, we can also atrophy them. So if there is something here that has been really, really strong, has been a conditioned belief that has been in the forefront for a really long time and has really strong connections, it's going to be challenging to bring in a new belief that contradicts it. Not impossible. Because the less focus we give to this over time, the more it atrophies. And the stronger this one gets if we focus here. So that is my work to do, right? And it may be your work to do, but it's definitely my work to do. And so this ended up being a really long video. I hope this spread is useful to you. I may go deeper into this just over the next few days myself, just pulling in bits and adding bits. I just want to say though, something I've done recently in this image, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a lot of sacred geometry, right? And in here is, I believe it's the flower of life. Okay? One of the things I did after I did my quantum leap spread, I was like, I know where I want to be. I know what frequency I want to be on. I'm on this frequency right now and I want to make that leap. I really want to make that leap. You don't have to do it this way, but this is just how I did it, was I called in Raziel, and Raziel brought me, I guess, to Metatron. And Metatron has the Merkaba, we know that, but which is right down here. But he also has, you know, sacred geometry. And if the quantum field was predominantly feminine, the sacred geometry within that is the masculine. It is the containment of something. So what I did was I said, okay, there is a certain amount of confidence, courage, will, focus, energy that I need to be anchored into while I take this leap. But, you know, I'm a mum to 4 kids, right? I'm a mum to 4 kids. And, I mean, any parent will tell you that your day is filled with supporting those children, right? And when you have 4 of them, it's a rare day that at least one of them isn't got something going on that you feel you have to drop everything for and support them through, right? And I had a family emergency this week, right in the middle of when I was trying to focus my intention on something. I was trying to bring in a frequency I was trying to hold. And my first thought was, oh my gosh, how am I going to maintain this, right? While I'm trying to focus on and support my son, how can I do both? And one of the things that I did was I called in Raziel, who took me to Metatron, and we took on the Flower of Life grid. Now, what I mean by that is that I asked for that grid to be placed around my energy field. And I asked for that to happen so that my energy field was anchored into place. It was contained, so that even though I had other things going on, even though my focus wasn't going to be able to be fully on what I was trying to create or manifest, that it wouldn't completely dissipate. Okay, it wouldn't completely dissipate because it was held in place, it was contained. And I really love that this picture really shows that, because sometimes we need containment. We need a structure around our energy field that helps us to create a structure in our external that helps us to keep moving towards what it is we're trying to create. So DNA or whatever is, whatever DNA we have is going to determine what the outcome physically looks like, maybe even some of the qualities of the being. It determines what that's going to become. But sacred geometry can do the same for us. It can anchor us in place. It can contain the energy so that it doesn't dissipate. And that's the first time I've ever done that, and it's the first time that I've actually been able to not completely lose sight of something because an emergency came up. Life is full of emergencies. For the last, I don't know how many years, there's been nothing but constant emergencies. And it's constantly, wanting to work towards my goals and then having to put them down, and then losing the momentum, and then because I've lost the momentum, losing the enthusiasm, and then once you've lost the enthusiasm, you've lost the will. And then it takes a long time before you want to go back to do that again through that process, because it feels like that was a disappointing process, right? So it takes a long time to want to go back to that, because we're trying to avoid disappointment. Ultimately, we're trying to avoid disappointment and self-judgment for not being able to do both, or be superwoman, or whatever it is that we expect of ourselves. But we can ask for assistance. We can ask for assistance so that enthusiasm, that will, that passion doesn't completely dissipate. And that is what I did this time, and it's really working out in a way that it's never worked out before. So I just wanted to add that in, even though I know this is a really long video. You have everything you need. And you can manifest in the support and the advice and the skills. Even you can manifest it in with an intention. This is what I want. This is what I need. I'm ready, and let's do it. So I'm going to leave this here, and I hope this was useful to you. I'd love to know what this gateway is activating for you. I just think that we are really lucky that we have this wonderful thing called the internet to help us all connect and stay connected. Star seeds, we're all over the place. We're all over the globe, and helping us to connect with one another and encourage and support one another, as well as sharing our ideas and sharing our experiences and learning from one another. That to me is co-creation. That to me is co-creation. So yeah, I love to co-create, even though I'm new to it. And I'd love to hear how your activation is going at this gateway. I'll see you next time.